Commander Jack Mercer stood on the observation deck of the destroyer Heritage, heart pounding as the pale blue dot of Earth grew smaller in the viewport. Across the void, the alien fleet loomed, sleek, filigreed warships that dwarfed his vessel and the rest of humanity's meager armada. He took a steadying breath. Behind him, Lieutenant Mia Alvarez checked weapons diagnostics, her brow furrowed. Just days ago, the Council on Mars had convinced Earth's leaders to send a token force to the rendezvous point at Epsilon Eridani. Officially, it was a peaceful delegation. Unarmed transports, civilian observers. Unofficially, Jack knew everyone expected a swift defeat. The message broadcast back home was brutal honesty. Humanity's fleet numbered fewer than a dozen combat ships, most retired models patched together with jury-rigged shields and sloppy welding. Yet as Jack watched the alien vessels slide into formation, he could feel something stirring in his chest that was almost pride. This was humanity's moment. If they could show even a flicker of resolve, maybe Earth would believe again that they still mattered among the stars. On the deck below, Ensign Leo Park tapped nervously at his console. "Commander, sensors show the lead mothership turning. They're all focusing on us," Jack nodded. "Keep your eyes on pattern shifts. If they mean to open fire, we need seconds at best to react." Mia's voice crackled in Jack's ear. "Shields at 45% and holding. Energy reserves are tight." He closed his eyes for a heartbeat, remembering the long months of preparation. Civilians evacuated to underground bunkers on Luna. Scientists worked around the clock to retrofit fusion cores onto creaky hulls. Engineers scoured scrapyards for any salvageable parts. Politicians argued endlessly, but on the shipyards of Earth and Mars, every welder and maid of honor turned volunteer hammered side by side, building these warships out of desperation and hope. A low hum vibrated through the metal deck as the mothership gestured with something that looked like an enormous crystalline arm. A wave of ultraviolet light washed across the formation. Jack realized they were testing their long-range weapon. "Estimated impact in 15 seconds, Leo warned. "Trajectory aimed just ahead of us." Jack's throat felt dry. 15 seconds. He glanced up at the viewport. The alien vessels were massive, each one bigger than the tallest skyscraper on Mars. Their surfaces gleamed like polished onyx, etched with symbols no human could decipher. Everywhere he looked, the crew held their breath, waiting to see how fragile their ship might shatter. "Lieutenant Alvarez," Jack said, voice low. "Full reverse. Channel power to forward shields. If those transmissions collapse, I want to sail right into their formation." "Understood, sir," she replied. "Redirecting power now." In the next instant, the hull trembled. A searing pulse raced across the void, striking Heritage's shields with blinding intensity. The deck lights flickered and screams echoed. Down the corridors, fire alarms blared. Jack braced himself against the railing. "Shields at 10%, Mia's voice broke with static. "We're down to structural integrity." He swallowed hard. The enemy's weapon had torn a shallow groove along the ship's bow, cutting through a meter of armor like tissue paper. If the pulse had been stronger... Suddenly, a plume of orange light burst beneath the Heritage's port side. Jack realized with shock, one of the alien frigates in front of them was breaking formation, her engines flaring, her hull glowing red-hot as if on fire. "Sir, a frigate's reactor is overloading," Leo shouted. Jack stared in disbelief as the burning ship veered toward the mothership at impossible speed. Then, before anyone could react, it rammed straight into the colossal hull. A massive shockwave rippled outward. The deck lurched violently, throwing Jack off his feet. Through the viewport, he saw the mothership's crystalline surface crack like glass. Brilliant blue light flared across its broken skin. For a moment, everything went white. Then darkness. When the glow faded, Jack glimpsed the mothership drifting off course, its formation shattered. Smaller support vessels veered wildly, confused. Enemy fighters, sleek, dagger-shaped, lurched out of formation, exposing vulnerable flanks. On the bridge, the crew erupted in stunned cheers. Jack scrambled upright, heart hammering. He stared out at the stunned enemy. "They didn't expect that," he whispered. Mia keyed her mic. "Sir, energy levels are too low for a counterstrike, But we have an opening. Jack squared his shoulders. Then we make it count. Leo, target the two nearest escorts. Fire everything we've got into them. Seconds later, the Heritage's turrets spat plasma bolts into the dark. Explosions blossomed around the damaged mothership as human and Martian guns roared to life. In the midst of battle, Jack felt something shift in him. A fierce pride, a roar of defiance echoing through the ship's bones. Humanity had been dismissed, mocked for its battered fleet. But now, under a shattered sun, they were fighting back. Above, distant stars blinked in silent witness to the unexpected firestorm. Whether victory or defeat awaited, Jack knew one truth. From this moment on, humans would never be underestimated. Again. After the first salvo, the sudden crash of the disabled frigate into the mothership left a stunned hush across space. Commander Jack Mercer steadied himself against the railing as alarms thundered and sparks danced along bulkheads. Around him, the crew fought to regain composure. Lieutenant Mia Alvarez barked orders over the comms. "Engineering, report status." Deep, below, Chief Engineer Arun Patel's voice crackled back. "Power core is steady, but rerouting weapons drained our reserves. We're at 20% capacity." Jack's jaw tightened. 20% would barely sustain shields, let alone drive the heavy railguns. Yet the enemy lay reeling before them, vulnerable. On the tactical map, Ensign Leo Park highlighted the drifting remnants of the alien formation. Two support cruisers limped away, their shields flickering. A squadron of fighters spiraled out of control caught in the mothership's collapse. "Sir," Leo said, "they're breaking ranks. We can press the advantage, but we'll need to move fast." Jack nodded. He turned to Mia. "Plot a course through that gap at grid 47. We'll slip through their disarray and target those cruisers before they regroup." Mia's fingers flew across her console. "Course set. Engines online." Outside the viewport, the shattered sun, its light dimmed by the alien ship's broken canopy, bathed the battlefield in an eerie half-glow. Vessels from Earth and Mars surged forward, plasma trails streaking the void like luminous comets. As Heritage accelerated, a volley of enemy fire flared from a damaged cruiser. One bolt struck near the port wing, sending a shockwave that rattled. "Panels! Brace for impact!" Mia shouted. The bridge lurched and lights flickered. Jack gripped the console, white-knuckled. But the shield held, flickering back to life as power surged through emergency relays. Within seconds, Heritage slipped between two cruisers. Leo locked onto the closer target, a sleek ship streaked with crimson markings. "Firing all forward guns," he called. Bright arcs of plasma launched into the cruiser's flank. The impact tore through armor plating, flinging shards of metal into the void. The enemy ship shuddered, then exploded in a silent bloom of fire. Behind them, the second cruiser spun to face them, its heavy cannons hot. Jack's eyes narrowed. "Evasive maneuvers," he ordered. Mia pulled the stick, banking the ship hard to port. The cruiser's return fire splashed harmlessly over Heritage's stern. "Now, Leo." Jack snapped. Leo unleashed a charged shot from the railguns. The projectile punched through the cruiser's bridge module. A brilliant flash lit the darkness as the ship collapsed inward, then disintegrated. For a moment, only the quiet hum of Heritage's engines filled the deck. Crew members exchanged stunned looks. Humanity's battered warship had turned the tide of an epic battle with sheer audacity. Jack allowed himself a thin smile. "Status?" Mia checked her displays. "Hull integrity at 60%. Shields. Recharging. Power core stable." Jack exhaled. "Good. Send a status beacon to Earth Command. Let them know we've scored a victory, but that we're low on resources." Leo keyed the transmitter. A coded signal pulsed out toward home. Below decks, Aaron reported, "Sir, we can hold position for now, but we'll need resupply soon. I recommend we rendezvous with the supply convoy at Orion Station before pressing deeper." Jack nodded. "Agreed. We've proven our mettle here. Let's not waste it." As Heritage veered toward the Orion corridor, Jack lingered at the viewport. The glowing remnants of destroyed ships drifted like tombstones across the dim battlefield. Above them, the broken mothership silhouette loomed, a shattered testament to human daring. Yet even crippled, the alien overlords still commanded fear. Jack's gaze hardened. They would not relent, and nor would he. Below him, the crew moved, with renewed purpose. In the dark vastness, strains of the human fight song swelled quietly over the comm system. It was a small gesture, an anthem of unity and defiance. Jack allowed himself hope. They had faced annihilation, and still stood. The journey ahead would be perilous, but for the first time, he believed humanity's story was far from over. As Heritage slipped through the Orion corridor, Commander Jack Mercer stood beside Lieutenant Mia Alvarez in the cramped navigation bay. The corridor was a meteor-packed stretch of space, lit by distant stars and drifting asteroids. Supplies were vital, but so was caution. Sensors show Orion Station ahead, Mia reported, finger-tracing a glowing waypoint on the holomap. We should dock in 30 minutes. Jack nodded. Tell engineering to prepare docking clamps. Leo, review supply logs. We need fuel, munitions, medical kits, everything. In the weapons bay, Ensign Leo Park flipped through loading manifests. A stack of crates marked Martian alloy caught his eye. Sir, we've got enough plasma rounds for 2 more engagements, but only half our stored railgun slugs, and medical supplies are low, under 20%. Jack frowned. Send a crew to unload civilian stores first, food, water, medkits. Then we'll negotiate for extra rails. Aaron, can the Corps handle another plasma upgrade if we get parts? Below decks, Chief Engineer Aaron Patel's voice crackled over comms. Possibly, but we'll need cooling rods and conductors. Without them, extra plasma output could overload our system. Jack ran a hand through his hair. Understood. Mia, lay in a course for the station's cargo bay. We dock hot, ready for anything. Moments later, the docking clamps latched with a metallic clang. Heritage's hull shuddered as the station's arms embraced the ship. Through the viewport, the cramped interior of Orion Station came into view, a circular hub crowded with supply, ships, freighters, and maintenance drones. The airlock cycled open. Jack led a small detachment, Mia, Leo, Aaron, and 2 Marines, into the station's corridor. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, illuminating walls streaked with engine oil and Martian rust. Civilians in patched uniforms scurried about, hauling crates and refueling small fighters. A port officer, tall and gaunt, stepped forward. His uniform bore the emblem of the Earth-Mars Coalition. Commander Mercer, he said, voice tired. Welcome to Orion Station. Supplies are limited. We've had 2 skirmishes in the last week. Jack offered a nod. We understand. We need 5 tons of fusion fuel, 100 railgun slugs, 24 plasma packs, and medical supplies for 50 casualties. The officer's eyes flicked to Mia's datapad. Fusion fuel is available, but munitions are rationed. I can give you 40 slugs and 10 plasma packs free. Anything else? It's barter. Jack weighed his options. What barter? The officer glanced around, lowering his voice. I need spare coolant conduits for the station's reactor. If you can spare a set, I'll throw in another 50 slugs and 10 plasma packs. Medical kits I can provide, up to our stock. Jack nodded. Deal. Aaron, can you spare conduits? 2 sets, Aaron replied, but it'll slow our engine repairs. Do it, Jack decided. We'll improvise later. Moments later, the exchange was made. Crates rolled down conveyor belts into the ship's hold. Jack watched as plasma packs clicked into storage racks and fusion cells glowed with renewed energy. Medical bays would be stocked. Morale would lift. Suddenly, alarms blared through the station. A shrill klaxon echoed down the corridor. Civilians froze. The port officer swore under his breath. Pirate raiders on the far side of the station. You need to get back on your ship now. Jack's pulse quickened. Move, he barked. Marines drew pulse pistols as the group sprinted toward the docking airlock. Outside, a squadron of raider skiffs swooped in low, black darts of metal against the station's bulk. Explosions rocked exterior panels as defensive turrets roared to life. Back on Heritage's bridge, Leo shouted, Incoming fighters! 6 raider skiffs approaching. Mia spun her chair around. Sir, we're still unloading supplies. We can't clear in time. Jack's jaw set. Cut clamps, power to weapons. We'll clear the bay ourselves. Clamps releasing, Leo confirmed. But we'll be exposed. Heritage's engines flared as it undocked with a jolt. Raiders veered to intercept, plasma bolts streaking toward the hull. Evasive maneuvers, Jack ordered. The ship strafed sideways, asteroids whizzing past the viewport. Heritage's turrets tracked the skiffs, unleashing flares and plasma. Bursts that lit the void. Below decks, Aaron's conduits had been installed before the raid. Power surged through the plasma banks, turning the weapons bay into a blazing furnace of light. 2 skiffs disabled, Leo reported. But 4 more closing fast. Jack gritted his teeth. Mia, break formation to lure them away. I'll loop us around. Mia twisted the helm, diving Heritage behind a massive asteroid. The raiders followed, plasma trails painting the rock face in crimson. From the asteroid's shadow, Jack ordered, full power forward, ram the lead skiff on. My mark. Mark, Leo called. Heritage shot out of cover, cutting through the nearest skiff's engines with a blinding shockwave. The pirate craft splintered apart, debris scattering. The remaining raiders veered off, their attack broken. As quiet returned, Jack exhaled. On the bridge, crew exchanged relieved looks. Supplies and lives had been saved thanks to quick thinking and bold action. Jack allowed a grim smile. They had weathered the storm at Orion Station and shown once more that even in the darkest moments, humanity's spirit refused to yield. After the skirmish at Orion Station, Heritage limped into open space, its hull scarred but spirit unbroken. Commander Jack Mercer stood on the bridge, arms folded, watching the drifting wreckage of pirate skiffs fade behind them. The stolen supplies nestled safely in the cargo hold, but Jack knew their trial was far from over. Lieutenant Mia Alvarez tapped her console. Sir, our fuel reserves are stable, but we've used 1/4 of our plasma packs. Medical bay reports 20 wounded, mostly bruises and minor burns, but 2 with shrapnel injuries. Jack's expression grew stern. Keep them comfortable. Aaron, schedule MedTech Lena and her team to work on those patients immediately. On it, sir, responded Chief Engineer Arun Patel. Ensign Leo Park spoke up, voice tight with resolve. Commander, sensors have picked up an uncharted jump point ahead. Navigation logs show it leads into the Perseus expanse. Hostile territory, but a shortcut toward the Glisa perimeter. Jack's brow furrowed. The Glisa perimeter was the rumored staging ground of the alien high command. They needed to reach it before the mothership could regroup and to warn Earth. Yet the uncharted jump point was dangerous. Charts were incomplete, and rumors spoke of gravitational eddies that could tear a ship apart. He met Leo's gaze. What's the risk assessment? Leo swallowed. High risk of spatial distortion. Probability of successful jump is about 60%. But if we take the longer route around the Helios Rift, it'll add 2 weeks, time we may not have. Jack paced the bridge, boots clicking against the deck. Each second counted. Mia, run the simulation both ways. Show me trajectories and failure points. Within moments, hollow projections flickered to life above the tactical console. One path wound safely around dense asteroid clusters, the other dove into the gaping maw of the uncharted point, the projection warping and shimmering ominously. Mia's voice was steady. The Helios route keeps us above 90% safety. The jump point has a risk of 20% hull breach, but it cuts travel time by 48 hours. Jack exhaled slowly. 48 hours could mean the difference between Earth's survival or extinction, but I won't gamble the crew's lives needlessly. He paused, weighing duty against caution. All right, prep the ship for the uncharted jump, but we run drills first, everyone at battle stations. If the jump goes south, we need to be ready. Aye, sir. Mia tapped orders. The crew sprang into action. Drills echoed through corridors as Marines sprinted to gun turrets, engineers secured loose equipment, and MedTech Lena double-checked her triage kits. In the hangar bay, pilot Ava Reed ran pre-flight checks on the escort fighter, hopeful, ready to provide cover during the jump. 2 hours later, Heritage approached the jump point. a rippling veil of green-blue light suspended between two drifting ice asteroids. The mothership's shadow still lingered in the distance beyond, but for now it remained motionless. Jack stood beside Leo and Mia at the helm. Status. Mia's fingers danced over controls. All systems green. Jump. Engines charged to 70%, enough for 2 corrective boosts if needed. Leo cleared his throat. Pilot Reed is in Hopeful on standby. If we emerge into hostile space, she can cover us for the first few minutes. Jack nodded. Good. Let's do this. Mia steadied her hand and pressed the activation sequence. A low hum filled the bridge as the jump coils engaged. The rippling light ahead expanded, warping the aft viewport. Entering jump in 3, 2, 1. Mia's voice trailed as the bridge lights dimmed, then snapped out. A sensation like falling gripped the crew's chests. The ship shuddered, metal groaning under unseen forces. Alarms splashed red across consoles. Spatial distortion, Leo shouted. Hull stress at 50%. Jack braced himself against a console. Hold steady. Engage secondary stabilizers. Mia triggered the backups. The hum deepened, and the distortion wave rippled through the hull like a shock. Then, abruptly, everything went still. Lights returned. The viewport revealed swirling nebula gas tinted violet and gold. Stars stretched into elongated lines, then snapped back into pinpoints. Jack exhaled in relief. Status report. Mia's eyes flicked over readings. Hull integrity at 90%. Minor fissures in outer plating, but nothing critical. Jump complete. Behind them on the comm, a crackle sounded. Heritage, this is Hopeful. I'm in position. That was one hell of a ride. Jack allowed himself a tired smile. Welcome to the Perseus Expanse. Leo keyed the comm. Sir. Sensors show the Glisa perimeter ahead. About 6 hours travel. Jack looked out at the strange swirling clouds beyond the fogged viewport. Ahead lay the heart of the alien domain. Danger, answers, and possibly the key to humanity's survival. He straightened his shoulders. Set course, Lieutenant. Let's meet our fate. The violet glow of the Perseus Expanse fell away as Heritage entered the Glisa perimeter. Commander Jack Mercer stood once more at the viewport, eyes scanning the countless alien harvesters and defense platforms that dotted the shadowed region. Each station loomed like a black fortress against the distant starlight. Lieutenant Mia Alvarez leaned in beside him. Sensors show a hollow world ahead. Glisa Station Gamma. It looks like their forward command post. Jack nodded. That's our best shot at finding the alien high command's orders. Leo, plot a stealth approach. Stick to sensor blind spots. Ensign Leo Park tapped the tactical display. Blind spots here and here. He pointed to 2 overlapping gravwell shadows. We can slip through without raising alarms if we stay low. Good, Jack said. Ava, launch Hopeful as a scout. Keep comms silent and report back. Pilot Ava Reed's calm voice crackled in his ear. Hopeful is prepped, launching in 30 seconds. On the hangar bay deck, the small escort fighter slipped free of Heritage's cargo crane and angled toward the planet below. Jack watched its taillights fade into the haze. Ready for ground recon? Mia asked quietly. Jack's jaw tightened. Ground recon, yes, but if they detect us, it's war. Minutes later, Hopeful dipped into Glisa Station Gamma's atmosphere. From his console, Leo tracked her descent onto a flat landing pad. Touchdown confirmed, Leo reported. Reed's on foot now, moving toward the central tower. Jack exhaled. She'll need support. Prepare the drop shuttle. Aaron, load 2 Marines and half our plasma reserves. Below decks, Chief Engineer Aaron Patel's voice crackled. Shuttle prepped, Commander. We're ready when you are. Jack nodded to Mia. Let's go. In the dim shuttle bay, Jack, Mia, and 2 Marines, Corporal Dane and Corporal Reyes, climbed aboard the drop pod. The hatch sealed and the engines hummed to life. Within seconds, they detached from Heritage and hurtled toward the hazy planet. Through the reinforced windows, black clouds swirled around Glisa Station Gamma, a vast ringed world hanging motionless against the void. The shuttle's retro thrusters flared as it pierced the upper atmosphere, jolting the passengers. Brace for landing, Mia warned. The shuttle slammed onto the landing pad with a bone-shaking thud. Smoke hissed from vents as the engines shut. "You." Jack led the group onto the metal walkway. Ahead rose the station's central tower, a monolithic spire crowned with sharp antennae. Alien glyphs glowed faintly along its walls. "Keep quiet," Jack whispered. They moved in single file, footsteps muffled by their boots. Inside, a narrow corridor stretched ahead, lit by dull crimson panels. Strange machinery thrummed behind, grated vents. Corporal Reyes held up a hand. Voices, up ahead. Jack pressed himself against the wall. Through a grated doorway, he saw two alien officers, tall, elongated figures clad in dark armor, speaking over a holomap of his own fleet's movements. "They plan a counterattack," one said in clipped tones. "The human vessel survived the jump. We must destroy it before it reaches the core." Jack's heart hammered. This was the intel they needed. He glanced at his team. "Get the recording," he whispered. Mia activated a small data probe, sliding it through the grate. Soft lights blinked as it captured the conversation. Suddenly, a distant alarm wailed. The alien officers snapped their heads toward the door. "They know we're here," Mia hissed. Jack drew his plasma pistol. "Go!" They burst through the grate as the door hissed open. Alien officers grabbed weapons, but the Marines opened. "Fire." Blue bolts sizzled through the corridor, striking armored plates. "Fall back," Jack ordered. They sprinted toward the shuttle under a hail of alien fire. Grainy sparks danced off the walls. Reyes covered their retreat, firing precise shots until the walkway's end. The shuttle hatch yawned open. Jack and the others dove. Inside, as alien shapes lunged at the rim, Mia slammed the hatch shut and the engines roared. "Hold on," she shouted. The shuttle rocketed upward, weaving through the station spires as alien turrets opened fire. Bolts missed by hairs, breath shattering nearby pylons. "Punch it," Jack yelled. Mia twisted the throttle, and the shuttle shot free of the ring world, streaking back toward Heritage. Below them, the station's alarms blared in revolt at the intruder's escape. "Data probe?" Jack asked. Mia nodded, holding up the blinking device. "We got it." Seconds later, the shuttle docked with Heritage. Engineers rushed forward as the hatch opened. Jack handed the probe to Leo. "Decrypt it now." Leo slipped the probe into his console. Hologlyphs danced across the screen, then resolved into human language. "Terminate the human flagship. Deploy Mothership's solar nullifier." Jack's eyes narrowed. "They plan to use their weapon to blot out our sun completely." Mia's voice was steely. "We stop them here and we save the solar system." Jack exhaled, resolve hardening. "Then we take the fight to them." On the bridge of Heritage, the decrypted message hung heavy in the air. "Terminate the human flagship. Deploy Mothership's solar nullifier." Commander Jack Mercer stared at the viewport where distant stars blinked innocently. The alien threat had grown grimmer by the second. Lieutenant Mia Alvarez's fingers hovered above her console. "Sir, our scanners show the Mothership is refitting its weapon. They've anchored themselves near the dark side of the sun to harness solar energy." Jack's jaw tightened. "That gives them full power to extinguish our sun and kill every living thing in the system." Ensign Leo Park spoke up, voice urgent. "We can't let them complete the refit. We need to strike quickly. But Heritage alone might not have the firepower." Jack nodded. "Ava, patch in the fleet signal. It's time to call in our allies at Orion Station." On the comm channel, muted static gave way to Lieutenant Commander Nadia Cole's calm voice. "Heritage, this is Orion Task Force. We read you. Status?" Jack took a breath. "Mothership is near Sol's dark side, preparing solar nullifier. We need all available ships to intercept before they activate." There was a pause, then Nadia replied. "Task Force is 40 minutes out. We'll engage. Prepare for coordinated attack." Jack looked at Mia. "Plot intercept course. We'll hit their rear flank to draw fire. Then Task Force will hit the front." Mia's eyes lit as she tapped commands. A three-dimensional map flickered above the console, showing Heritage's projected trajectory and the incoming Task Force's vector. "Course set, sir," she said. "Estimated intercept in 30 minutes near the sun's terminator line." Arun Patel's voice crackled over the intercom from engineering. Commander, I've prepared overcharged plasma rounds. They'll give us extra punch, but each shot risks overloading the guns. Jack weighed the options. We can't hold back. Load the overcharged rounds. Understood, Arun replied. In the weapons bay, Leo and two gunners swapped standard rounds for the glowing, energy-crackling overcharged slugs. The railgun barrels hummed in anticipation. Back on the bridge, Jack addressed his crew. Everyone, this is our moment. We're the wedge between our allies and the alien weapon. Hold steady, follow orders, and we'll show them humanity cannot be snuffed out. Ava's voice cut in. Task Force just dropped out a jump. They're lining up on your port side. Jack turned. Through the side viewport, dozens of sleek human and Martian ships glided into formation, their weapons hot and ready. Mia tapped her console. We're entering the sun's terminator. Light levels dropping. Duty stations braced as Heritage rose on the lead edge of the attack group. Ahead, the alien mothership's gleaming hull floated in the growing shadow, its weapon array unfurled like a giant crystalline sail. All hands, brace for engagement, Jack ordered. At that moment, the mothership unleashed its first volley of solar-charged beams. The beams streaked past Heritage, igniting nearby asteroids in fiery bursts. Evasive, Mia shouted. Heritage's hull groaned as it banked hard, dodging the deadly rays. From the task force, plasma salvos and missile barrages erupted, striking the mothership's flank. Explosions rippled across its surface, sending out showers of debris. Return fire, Jack commanded. Leo opened fire with the overcharged railguns. Bright streaks of energy cut into the alien hull, carving deep grooves around the weapon's mount. Alarms shrieked as the mothership's defenses woke. Swarms of fighter drones launched, darting toward Heritage in lethal numbers. Fighters on our bow, Leo warned. Jack's pulse raced. Divert shields to front quadrant. Mia, target the nearest drone cluster. Mia keyed the targeting systems. The main cannons hissed and spat concentrated plasma, shredding drone after drone in a blazing arc. Still, more came. Jack thought fast. Ava, send Hopeful with 2 escorts around their rear. Hit their hangar bay, cut off reinforcements. Ava's calm reply crackled in his ear. On it, sir. In moments, the small group peeled off and dove toward the mothership's underbelly. Boarding craft launched, carrying Marines to sabotage the alien docks. On Heritage, the combined human fleet pressed home the assault. Missile strikes punched through the mothership's shield grid, and railgun blasts crumpled its defensive towers. But the solar nullifier remained active. Its crystalline array glowed, ready to fire. Jack clenched his fist. We need to disable that weapon, sir, Leo said. The weapon's cooling conduits are vulnerable at the base. A precision strike could overload it. Jack seized on the plan. Mia, adjust fire solutions, target the weapon's base. Leo, feed me aiming data. Under blinding flashes of light, Heritage's guns swung into position. Leo fed coordinates. Jack gave the final order. Fire. The overcharged rounds launched in unison. A thunderous roar vibrated through the ship as the projectiles lanced into the base of the solar nullifier. The impact set off a chain reaction. Cracks spidered across the crystalline surface as internal conduits ruptured. The weapon shuddered, then erupted in a blinding flare. The mothership trembled, its structure buckling. Around them, flashing lights signaled catastrophic failure. From the comm, Nadia's voice broke through excitedly. Heritage Task Force confirms the nullifier is down. Mothership stability compromised. Evacuate or finish them off. Jack exhaled, relief and adrenaline surging together. Concentrate fire on the engines and core. Let's end this. As the human fleet unleashed a final volley, Commander Jack Mercer allowed himself a moment of triumph. Against impossible odds, humanity had reached into the dark and refused to let its light go out. The alien mothership shuddered under the final human barrage. Fractured plating peeled away like petals, revealing burning cores and sparking conduits. Across the void, Heritage and the combined fleet held steady, weapons still trained on the crippled behemoth. Commander Jack Mercer stood on the bridge, heart racing. The glowing wreck of the solar nullifier collapsed inward, sending a pulse of light that washed over the human ships. He watched as the mothership's engines flared one last time and then went dark. "They're dead in the water," Ensign Leo Park announced, relief bright in his voice. "No life signs from command decks. All systems offline." Lieutenant Mia Alvarez exhaled. "God's willing, that's the end of their threat. We should sweep for survivors or clear a path home." Jack nodded. "Agree. But first, damage reports." Chief Engineer Aaron Patel chimed in over the intercom. "Heritage hull at 70%. Shields at 30, but recharging. Engines are fully operable. We'll need repairs, but nothing we can't handle." Jack allowed himself a small smile. "Good work, everyone. Send med teams to rescue any survivors, enemy or ally, and begin salvage operations on the wreck." Outside, human and Martian shuttles launched from docked ships, sweeping the battlefield. Marines in armored suits floated through shattered corridors of the mothership, rescuing captured pilots and securing data cores. In Heritage's hangar bay, pilot Ava Reed exhaled deeply as she stepped down from her fighter. Her flight suit was scorched, visor cracked, but her eyes shone. "That was something else, sir," she said quietly. Jack clapped her on the shoulder. "You and Hopeful turned the tide back there. Cannot thank you enough." Ava shrugged. "We all did our part." Several hours later, as the shattered mothership drifted toward a distant star, Jack gathered his key officers on the bridge. The holo display showed a corridor back toward Earth, clear of alien threats. "Let's chart the fastest route home," he said. Mia plotted the course while Leo transmitted their victory report to Earth Command. On the view screen, the transport, ship Aurora carrying rescued civilians, slipped into transmission range. Its captain, Mara Singh, appeared in the comm window, fatigue in her eyes but a broad smile on her face. "Commander Mercer," Mara said, voice thick with emotion. "You saved us. Humanity owes you a debt we cannot repay." Jack bowed his head. "We all fought for the same cause, Captain. Safe journey to Earth, and tell them we'll follow soon." As the Aurora vanished, Jack looked around at his crew. Each face told of hardship and sacrifice, but also of hope rekindled. Lieutenant Alvarez leaned in. "Sir, I've prepared a signal beacon. When we cross into Earth's sector, they'll know we survived and what we did." Jack's gaze drifted to the pale blue dot that awaited them across the gulf of light years. "Let them know. Earth's fleet is no longer meager. We have fire in our hearts, and we will protect this world." Mia tapped the beacon launch. A green pulse shot into space, carried on subspace frequencies toward home. Days later, as Heritage glided through familiar star lanes, Jack found a moment of quiet on the observation deck. He gazed at the mosaic of galaxies beyond, reminders of how small Earth once seemed in the cosmic sea. Ensign Leo joined him, offering a steaming mug of synth coffee. "Congratulations, sir. You wrote a new chapter for humanity out there." Jack accepted the mug. He raised it in toast. "To every welder, every scientist, every volunteer who built these ships, and every soul who believed we could stand against the dark." Leo nodded. "They'll sing of this battle for generations." Jack allowed himself a genuine smile. "I hope they remember that it wasn't legends or lost myths that saved us. It was the courage of ordinary people, standing together against impossible odds." He took a slow sip, eyes reflecting starlight. "Home is waiting, Leo. And when we get back, we'll ensure Earth never doubts its strength again." As Heritage surged onward, its engines humming a steady rhythm, the crew prepared for the journey. Home. Behind them lay wounds to heal and stories to tell. Ahead of them shone a future shaped by the flame they had kept alive, proof that in the vast darkness, humanity's light would never be extinguished. End of Part 7. They dismissed. Earth's meager armada. Then the mothership Darkened the Sun concludes here.